Hello, everyone. Welcome to Mupo and Friends. We are Michele Mupo and
Jessilyn Persson, and we're brought to you by Mupo TV.
you could catch all our shows 24/7 at www.mupoentertainment.com.
And you can also live chat with us every Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern on our YouTube channel during the premiere of each episode.
Tune in Sundays, 2 p.m. Eastern, because our live chats are rocking. And I have to say, we actually had some really cool guests that have been on our show, and they've actually shared things on Mupo and Friends that they've never shared before.
They sure have. Thank you for tuning into our show where we love bringing you celebrities and entrepreneurs you want to know. So, Michele, have you had a Mupo awesome week?
I absolutely did. I'm amazed with the process that we are having with Mupo Entertainment. Thank you, Jess, and everyone in the Mupo familia.
Yes, 100%.
How about you? Did you have a Mupo awesome week?
I sure did. Like you, I'm super excited to see the progress we've made and where we're going again in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I know. It's really exciting. Well, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back with our special guest.
Welcome back to Mupo and Friends. Our special guest today is an actress of stage and screen who started her career doing voiceovers and commercials. And now she has worked her way to the top by starring in HBO's hit TV series, Mare of Easttown, which has just been nominated for 16 Emmys. Please welcome Connie Giordano.
Hi.
Hello, Connie. How are you?
Hi, Jess. It's nice to see you. How are you today?
I'm great. Thanks. We're glad to have you on our show. Thank you for joining us.
Hello, Connie, and I'm excited too because, it's more for the Italian power here.
Hi, Michele. Love that.
So,
yes, fellow paisans.
yes. So I have to tell you, the show is amazing. And the first question we have is, how hard was it to keep the ending of Mare of Easttown to yourself?
That's a great question because I had to hold it in for about 2 years because COVID shut us down for a while. And, I was under contract. I had to sign a confidentiality, and I had people left and right of me saying, I'm going to get it out of you. Nobody did. So it was not easy sometimes, but honestly, it did add to the fun. It did.
That's cute.
Yeah.
As the ending has since aired, have you discussed it with friends and family?
Oh, sure. Yeah. There's just a few people that, they don't want to hear it, but otherwise most of my closest friends and family have seen it. And I had one friend out of many who knew who it was, who correctly guessed. But otherwise everybody else was way off. Just like me, I was way off.
Wow, we need to get them on board with us writing. So
Yeah.
you actually had somebody that guessed the plot.
Yeah. And that was actually, Michele, the hardest part to not reveal, because she said it to me a couple weeks before. We were just having dinner, and I just kind of looked away like, oh yeah, because I didn't want to give it away in the least.
Right.
And thankfully I didn't, but when she said it, I was screaming inside because I was like, oh my gosh, one person actually got it, but I didn't say it. And then I called her up a few days after. I'm like, you were right.
Nice. No,
Yeah.
That's nice.
It
So
was fun.
while your character was a part of the main plot, there were many subplots. Do you have a favorite?
The story that was, without giving it away, the relationship between her and her best friend, I thought was really beautiful. And the ups and downs that they had throughout the season, through the series, I really loved that. I just thought it was, and the way it was wrapped up without revealing anything, the reconciliation, it was just, I thought it was really beautiful. And of course, both actresses did an amazing job, I thought.
So you've said you learned from other actors. What did you learn on set?
Well, I learned how to act on a set with the rampant pandemic. That's new. Yeah, I'll tell you. But no, I'm just kidding. I mean, it really wasn't an issue. Their protocols were amazing. When we came back, we were out for about 6 months, and I didn't have an ounce of fear, to be honest. And I had quarantined a few days before, but I mean, and what did I learn? I mean, that's a good question. I think what I learned the most was how cool it was to be in a story that was literally about where you grew up. The setting of the show is in my backyard. In fact, I was born in Delaware County and lived there till I was 6 years old. That was a first for me. That was really cool. And I mean, I have to admit it wasn't that difficult. This role, I'm not a mom. I don't own a restaurant, but I have 6 amazing nieces and nephews that I'm very close with, and I make my own gravy, and some Italian, right? And so there were so many characteristics about my character that were me that was easier than other roles I've had. Yeah.
So I was going to say, you said it correctly, gravy. Not many people say that. Everyone says, oh, sauce, but it's really gravy.
I know, Michelle, somebody just said this to me yesterday, like, sauce? What do you mean, like brown gravy? I'm like, gravy. They're like, what do you mean, like biscuits? I'm like, no. My grandmother was an immigrant from Italy, so I just grew up saying that, and I still jar my own gravy, my own tomatoes every year, and sometimes I actually will make gravy as well and can it. So I'm sorry, but that's never going away.
Nice.
No.
Nice.
Yeah,
do you have a specialty?
I used to put everything I could think of in my gravy. When I was younger, I would put like mushrooms and onions and oregano and tons of stuff. And I realized a while ago that not just because of the simplicity of it, but I think that it's the meat that gives the gravy the flavor. And if you have the luxury of time, like a day or two at least before you serve it. So I would say that my specialty is just a simple basil gravy, but I cook it with meat in it, and then I take the meat out. And these days, I've actually, my father told me once that my grandmother used to put a potato in the gravy, I guess to soak up the acid. So I've started doing that.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And I also, my traditional has always been putting in, making meatballs until they're about 3/4 of the way done, and then putting them in the sauce to finish, right? So there's some flavor. Then also I would put chicken, but now and sometimes sausage, but now I actually will buy soup bones, like marrow bones, and let them just
marinate
it up. It's just it's easy. And it's still, I think it's delicious. I know I'm incredibly biased, but, but yeah, that's my thing. But people love it. I went through 30 jars last year, so.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
30 jars.
Yeah.
I did. I know. So if I go to Lancaster, which isn't that far from here, and get the really good tomatoes, I think that's part of it too.
You got to come to Jersey and get Jersey tomatoes.
Oh, yeah, of course. Of course. Yeah. I mean, I'm a Jersey girl, Michelle. I go down the Jersey Shore, and I love stopping at the, the produce stands and all that. Love it.
Yeah, you got to come to the Mupo's house. Forget about it on a Sunday.
Forget about it.
Forget about it.
Love it.
Connie, in regard to the Pennsylvanian authenticity, besides the new iconic Delco accent, what were the details that stood out to you?
The constant references to Wawa, which I loved, which I go to all the time. There was reference to some local restaurants. They mentioned Pica's, which is like a famous Delco Italian restaurant, which I loved. I did catch someone saying Wawa with an S, and I had to bite my tongue because I'm like, there's no S. But yeah, I mean, I loved all the references to the area. I think they mentioned Westchester, which isn't too far from me. I lived there for 3 years. So that was just fun. It really was, because that never happened. You never get to, it's where you see a story about where you are from or whatever, but then to be in it, I mean, what a blessing. I can't even, I'm still so grateful. It's still very surreal, but that was the coolest part for me. Yeah. It's just hearing all these references to my hometown. I just loved it.
Wow. So you got to work with Kate Winslet. What was that like? Like
she's amazing. I mean, she's just amazing. I mean, first of all, I mean, I thought about it later. I'm like, she's like James Gandolfini in The Sopranos. She was there practically 24/7, like she was there on the set 7 a.m. till midnight, every night. So her schedule just was out of, it was insane. And yet she was so nice, so professional, so grounded. And she's smart as a whip, sharp, fabulous sense of humor. I mean, she was just a delight. She really was. I liked her the minute I met her. I did.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to take a quick commercial break and we'll be right back.
With Mayor of Easttown's Connie Giordano. You heard about being cast in Mayor of Easttown while on the way to your day job, yet still worked that day. How did you get through it?
It was impossible. It was impossible because, God forgive me, it was a brand new, they call them day jobs, survival jobs. And it was a brand new job. And it had been weeks. I did not know if I didn't think I got the role because I didn't hear it. I had auditioned weeks before. And so it was literally the commute to Philadelphia can be like Manhattan. It's, at rush hour. So I was sitting in rush hour traffic at 7 o'clock in the morning on my way down to Philadelphia. And I just happened to see my phone goes off and it was the agent saying, congratulations, blah, blah, blah. And I just was over the moon, of course, and screaming in the car, and people must have thought I was nuts around me, because literally like in bumper to bumper traffic. And then I get to this new job, and I met a new team. I'm in marketing. I've been in marketing on and off for years for the pharmaceutical industry, and so I was meeting with a new group of people who were delightful and so nice. But we were literally talking for hours about our plans for the year and how I was going to be involved. And all I knew was that I was cast in the show for HBO, and that it was a series. That's all I knew. And I was like sitting on my hands the whole time. Like I kept looking out the window, like if I could just jump. Like it was very difficult because I sat there for about 6 hours, and couldn't say a word and couldn't, I think I had, 5 minutes in the restroom at one point and check my email, which didn't really help, but it was tough. But it's so funny that you mentioned that. Yeah. And I hope that client will never forgives me. I mean, I did a good job for the short time I was there, but it's just the way it is. It's unavoidable.
Yeah. No, I have a question. Now.
Yeah.
When you get your scripts, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do they give you the whole entire script, or did they just give you like just your part to read?
So, they gave me like an episode at a time, like a whole show at a time. And they did that for several weeks. I mean, I think part of it is that they were still like kind of editing through and all that, and doing last minute changes. But I was fortunate enough to get the whole series scripts because I'm in the last episode. So, but some people did not. And I didn't know that at first. And I was like, wow. I'm like, yeah, so I know. That was kind of weird. Like, oh, you don't have to, and I was like, I can send it to you, but no, I'm not going to. Because we couldn't. We had to agree. We had to sign on the dotted line not to reveal any plot, anything, storylines, locations, of course, But yeah, so I received a script one episode at a time over the first few weeks.
Awesome. So you fell in love with acting when you saw The King and I.
I
Were there
did.
any
Boy,
stage
Jess, you did your homework.
productions? Thanks. Were there any stage productions that have made a profound impression on you?
Oh, sure. My high school favorite production, like the very first, I would consider it my first like serious dramatic role. I did The Crucible, Arthur Miller's The Crucible, when I was in ninth grade, and I played one of the leads, and that kind of set me off on like, wow, I really want to learn how to do this, because it was a challenging role, and I was age appropriate at the time, but I didn't know what I was doing. I was just a teenager, but it definitely set me on a path. And I've always been a big fan of Arthur Miller. And then I think another show would have been The One That Got Away, the Broadway show that I did get called back for, but I did not get cast in, and that was Rent, which was a big hit in the 90s. And so that show had a pivotal moment for me in my life and in my career, because I was called back for the Broadway production. And then because of that, I decided to pursue it up and down the East Coast, and just over like about a year's period. And I just, didn't get it. And I was so devastated. I think I auditioned 3 or 4 times over the course of the year. And so that was a moment where I just decided, okay, I was so heartbroken and crushed. I remember I was down in DC, and I think I got on a bus from New York at like 4 o'clock in the morning to go down there and audition, and waited in line, and the whole cliche thing. And when I didn't get past the first round, I thought, you're either in this for life and you're going to go back to school and get the training that you don't feel you have completed, or you're done. And so I think God gave me in the direction I was supposed to go, and here we are many years later.
That's wonderful.
Now, I'm going to ask you something, because I know you like to cook. So did you ever think of doing like a cooking show?
Well, I have done cooking products for QVC. Yeah. So I have, and I've certainly had auditions for like infomercials with cooking products. So yeah, I mean, to me, it's a passion. It's a hobby. Even though I have an improvisation background, it's funny. I don't know if it's my strength to be the person for half an hour just riffing and talking about, the spice in this and what this, you know what I mean? Like, at least as of now, sure, it would be wild, right? It would be fun. But I think right now in front of me, I really want to hone the craft of acting on television and film. I feel like I've really mastered it on stage, and now I'd like to translate that to film and television.
Yeah, but maybe you could bring that gravy or Mayor of Easttown. I was going to say, seriously, that would be really cool, because you're in a restaurant.
It's true. Yes, it's true, Michelle. And I actually did gift a couple. I did gift a couple people on the set with some gravy. I couldn't resist. I was like, it just seems appropriate. And I put my name, AKA Patty.
That's an awesome gift. All right, we're going to take a commercial break, and we'll be right back.
And we're back with the amazing Connie Giordano. Now, Connie, you've studied craft extensively. How important do you think education is in regard to acting?
I think it's very important. I've said this before, like a doctor doesn't go into surgery on his second day of medical school, right? It is important to learn your craft. But I also think, training in the field, so to speak, getting up there as soon as you can, as early as you can, is important too. I think it's a combination of those two. It's the experience and the education in the school. It just gives you, not only does it give you training and technique, but it gives you confidence, which I think is really important.
Absolutely. Even though your roots are in PA, you consider yourself a New Yorker. Do you have faith the city will bounce back after so much turmoil in the past year and a half?
Oh, I hope so. That's a great question, Jess. I miss it. I miss the city. I really do. I hope so. It's survived so much, hasn't it? I mean, it's survived, the stock market crash and September 11th. I mean, I really hope it comes back. It's heartbreaking to hear what goes on. I mean, I just had some brunch over the weekend with some friends from Brooklyn who are leaving. They're like, we're out of here. So I really hope that turns around. I do. It's such an amazing city, and I don't think it leaves your heart. It really doesn't. Some people, I know a lot of people are like, oh, how could you go? It's so dirty. It's so this, and that. But there's just something about New York, right? It just gets in your heart and it never leaves.
That's true. Philly's like that too, though, because of the Sixers. But no, it is true though. Think about it. Like that's why it's the Big Apple,
Yeah.
I mean, so let me ask you this. If you knew now what you know then, or what advice would you actually give to somebody who is an inexperienced actor or actress?
The biggest thing I think I would say is don't ever give up. I've been on detours. I've been at this for over 30 years professionally, Shell. And, you do have detours, and life gets in the way and your personal choices and all that. But you just keep going. I had a boyfriend years ago say that to me. He said, just keep going. And I do think that's the most important thing here with pursuing this. It takes some people a year. It takes some people 5 and 10 and 20 and 30, and it could take more. So, or it can happen, not overnight, but, quote unquote overnight. So, but that I think is the most important thing, is that you just can't give up. You can't give up.
I think that's great advice, no matter what career you're in or what you're pursuing. Absolutely.
Yeah. Whatever it is you love, right? I agree.
Yeah. And I always say that if you quit, that's the only time you fail, is because you quit.
That's right. That's right. And it's hard to see that sometimes. It's hard to see the forest for the trees because when you're in it and it's so personal and all that. But yeah, I do think it's that persistence and tenacity that you have to have more than anything else. Yeah.
So what can you tell us about any upcoming projects or promotions you have on tap?
So, literally I have just in the last couple of weeks started having like real auditions again. The entertainment world is just opening up again, to my delight, so I can't announce anything yet, although, I do have a couple things in the works, but I can't wait to be able to do that. You'll see me this fall through the winter. I represent a brand for HSN, the shopping network. So you will see me in my driveway promoting a brand called Snow Joe, girl-friendly outdoor snow products. That's what I like to call them, winter weather products. Like for you go scrape the ice off your car and get the snow off your car, and you don't want to damage your car, that kind of thing. So they'll do what I did and scratch the hood of my car years ago with a snow shovel.
I've done that.
Yes, everybody does it. So yeah, so that's in the immediate future. But hopefully, Jess, hopefully I'll be able to announce something, exciting soon, because I'm thrilled to see the world's opening back up.
Yeah, us too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now I want to get on my favorite thing is charity. So I know you have a charity that's very important to you. Can you tell us about it?
Sure. I love that you know that. My church supports this charity, but my sister, it's a little more personal for me. My older sister actually works for this charity. It's called Genesis Crisis Center. And they've actually just opened a second location. I'm so happy for them. There's a young woman named Wendy Burpee who started it. And it is basically a place for young couples or young single moms who are trying to choose whether to keep their unborn baby or not. And so Genesis provides everything from baby supplies to job and career counseling to health and wellness counseling. And they really embrace troubled young women that are in crisis, young women and young couples, married and unmarried. And who, are trying to decide whether they want to keep their child or not. And it is very near and dear to my heart. My older sister has embraced it. She lost her own son a few years ago in a hiking accident. And this was her way of, I really think that God steered her in this direction because it's allowed her to work through her grief by helping other people. So it is a charity that's near and dear to my heart, Genesis Pregnancy Crisis Center. And thank you so much for asking.
Wow, that's deep. You know what we should do? We should have our Dwayne put it up on our website, and then we'll set a link to it.
Sure, that's wonderful of you.
Yeah, no, that's I mean, that's touching.
Yeah, it's true. It's very true. And she still struggles. It's been 5 years now, but this place has really brought her back to life, and she loves it. And she's just a volunteer. She doesn't actually work there. She's a volunteer, but she just absolutely loves it.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Well, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back with amazing Connie Giordano.
Aww.
And we're back with the conclusion of Connie Giordano.
Before we wrap things up, we have one last question. If you were to interview yourself, what question would you ask?
Wow. Well, I've heard this before, and I guess I kind of like it. People have asked me, like, what's your dream role? So I suppose I would ask that if I were the interviewer. I would ask, what's your dream role? And right now, I have I guess I have a dream project, because I actually think that Kate Winslet's role in Mare is an actor's dream role. It was so rich. It was so layered, it was so tragically flawed. That to me is that's a dream role. That's an actor's dream role. But outside of that, right now, I have a dream project, and I have mentioned this before, and that is, I understand I don't even know if it's in the works yet. I just know that I watched an interview about 6 months ago with Mel Gibson, who's talking about making a sequel to The Passion of the Christ, and he called it The Resurrection. So, Connie, what's your dream role right now? Well, my dream role right now would to be a part of Mel Gibson's The Resurrection.
Right on. You know what? I'm gonna hit Mel Gibson up because my father made the those the thorns that go around your head.
Yes.
He made them, and they actually put it in the church, St. Mary's Church in New Brunswick. They put it on, Jesus on the statue around Christmas time.
Okay. Yeah.
But you're not talking about and see if he'll if he wants to do it, and then I'll get you in there. Don't worry.
You're so funny. I love it. But are you saying that your father made the one that was in the film?
No, he makes the he just makes all these whittles, all these things. You know how they're Italian, older, they have nothing to do but whittle. But he made a thing that go around the head.
Right.
And it was like a thorn that went around. It looks just like what Jesus wore, and it hurts because I put it on.
Oh my gosh, yes. Yes. It was brutal. That's so interesting. That's so interesting that your dad does that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's cute. Awesome. All right. Thank you. It's been a treat visiting with you.
Thank you.
Look for Connie Giordano in Mr. Hush on Amazon Prime or IMDb, and Mare of Easttown on HBO or HBO Max. You can follow, like, and subscribe to Connie on Facebook under Connie Giordano, at Connie Giordano 3 on Instagram, on Twitter at Giordano Connie, on her YouTube channel under Connie Giordano, and her website, www.conniegiordano.com. As always, thank you for tuning in to Mupo and Friends, courtesy of Mupo TV. You can watch the show and others at www.mupoentertainment.com. That's www.mupoentertainment.com. This is Jessilyn Persson with our host, Michele Mupo. Until next time,
have a Mupo awesome week.